I am live on Facebook, I think, or not. If you're watching the replay, comment here below, wherever you're watching from. Say where you're from. I think it's on Facebook, I think. Say where you're from. All right. I have a lot of tech issues. Let's see that I am correct here. Just one moment. All right. I think we're on. Are we? Are we on? All right. I am waiting here for my dearest friend, Pascal Lane, who is a wonderful and great relationship and confidence coach. And we're going to talk today a little bit about emotional eating. Yes, she's right here. We're going to talk a little bit today about emotional eating, how to stop emotional eating or to balance. Here she is, Pascal Lane. My dearest,
I'm so sorry. I had some real tech issues getting in.
I also had some themes around, am I live? Am I not live? What's going on? It's the first time I do it via Zoom. So I'm glad you were able to join. I'm glad we're doing this together. So excited.
I'm so excited to be here. This is lovely. The first of many, I hope, Remi.
Yes, definitely. I was just saying that, I was just introducing you. So you're a confidence and relationship coach. And,
that's right.
And we're going to jump in, I guess, on the topic of, how to balance emotional eating and how it affects our relationships. And I that we have a lot to talk about. But let's just cover what we can have today.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, I mean, actually, I'm just thinking, how our emotional eating affects our relationships, but also in my experience and with the work that I do, how our relationships impact our emotional eating.
Ooh, yeah.
Because that's my side of the fence, and that's what's so great about doing this, is that we're both at different sides of the fence, but actually the fence is the same, right?
Oh,
so
definitely. So yeah. How about you tell us how our relationships affect our emotional eating, or in general eating habits, I guess.
Oh gosh, I mean, how long have we got? I could talk about this because there's so many different ways that we can go with this. So we can think about, well, are we thinking about our relationship with our relationship with ourselves? So how we feel about ourselves. So let me start from the beginning, because the beginning is where my passion and my work begins, right? Is that we are all a product of our past, and that is neither fully positive, fully negative, but just that we recognize that our early years experience forms who we are as people. And so our relationship with ourselves, how we feel about ourselves, our confidence, our self-esteem, our self-worth, is largely, not exclusively, but largely about how our needs were met as children, and how we were emotionally tuned into growing up, right? Then that obviously that then impacts or informs then how we go into our adult relationships and the partners that we choose, and whether we choose people who are good for us and nurture us and encourage us, or whether we choose, so you get the pattern, right? And then depending on all of that, then, and this is close to my heart because this is something that I really relate to. We had a really brief conversation about emotional eating the other day. And this is something that my clients come up with all the time, is we're then thinking about how then do you fill that gap if you have a void if you have a void in your relationship with your partner, your parents, your friends, if you have a void in your relationship with yourself, how do you nourish that, or what do you use to fill that, and do you nourish it, or do you comfort eat, drink alcohol, use drugs? Like, this is obviously, I know that that's not exclusively what we're talking about, but we are thinking about how we comfort ourselves. And I think you said something the other day which really rang true to me, which is, when we're thinking about food as a reward, but like good food. Like I've said to my husband, now I'm going to be on a call now for half an hour. Please, can you make me a salad? And he's like, what do you want in it? And I said, just put in all the colours. Yeah, because that's like my idea of heaven, like a rainbow salad. Whereas some people would go to chocolates or crisps, or like what have you. I'll stop talking.
Which is, by the way, also okay. I feel like I just want to jump and just say that first. That also, if you opt in for crisps, or and for us that are not British, it's more like chips and stuff. It took me a while to understand. One of my best friends is British, so but yeah, so also if you opt in for like crisps, chips, cookies, chocolates, whatever it is, it's also okay. And the thing is, I love what you said also about how it all comes down to how our needs were met as we were kids, because this is really also my belief, right? That I mean, it's not only a belief, it's science proof, right? That up until I think the age of 7, our subconscious mind is completely open, and then everything we see around us, the adults around us, where it's our parents, the kindergarten teacher, whoever it was, we as children get it as a belief, right? And it's kind of the same, and I always give this example, it's kind of like the same as if I am a 4-year-old kid and I walk with my mom and there's a tiny little dog, and the dog is just very excited to see me, but I as a 4-year-old get it as a danger, and oh my god, I got scared because the dog is too excited for me, then I'll probably get it as, not necessarily, but I'll probably get it as a pattern of, oh my god, dogs are scary, right? And then as an adult, I'll go from there. And it's amazing that you said that, because it's one of the main conversations I also have with my clients around emotional eating, because there's a lot that's being said to us as kids about food. And as you said, as a reward around food. So sometimes it can be something like, oh, you did really good at school, you got this, a very high grade. How about we'll go and go buy ice cream? And then that, boom, clicks into a pattern of, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Or the flip side is, and I'm very conscious of this with my daughters as well. If they've hurt themselves, they've fallen over, something's happened, and you're like, would you like a biscuit? Like, what can I make you? Can I make you like some Nutella sandwich or something? And like, don't get me wrong, like my girls love a Nutella sandwich. Like, who doesn't love a Nutella sandwich, right? But it's like it's that food as that reward. It's that, and I get what you mean. Like, I don't demonize any food. Well, I'm vegan, so I demonize some food, but that's a conversation for another time, right? But it's like everything in moderation, everything in moderation. But it's like I find, for me personally, I struggle with the moderation. Like I struggle with moderation, like full stop. I'm so kind of like all or nothing. So I'm just really mindful, having 2 daughters, about how, when they do hurt, the first thing I want to do, obviously, give them a hug, kiss them better, and then like, chocolate, would you like chocolate? Will that make you better? And chocolate always makes them feel better, right? It always makes them feel better. But I don't want to program that into their brain.
Yes. And I love the example you gave with your daughters as well, because I feel like that's exactly the cycle of emotional eating that a lot of us kind of, I feel like emotional eating got a very, very bad rap, got a very bad name out there, because if you think about it on a let's say, that I lost the word now, but let's say, like, if you really think about what the meaning is of emotional eating, it's just eating that produces emotion. Point blank, that's it. Eating that produces emotion. Eating we do all day long. Emotion we have all day long. So basically, it's something that is normal. The issue or the problem, and I do quote unquote because the problem begins when we use, as you said, abuse the food or the eating, and then it causes those patterns, and then we reward ourselves with food and etc. And all those things. That's when we begin to build a unhealthy relationship with food. And that's where the issue is. And it's exactly as you said. So the cycle of that is, before that, I'm just going to give an example what it means to enjoy food, right? So, for example, if I decide to eat a cake because I just love cake and I feel happy about it, it's also emotional eating, but it's not bad because I feel good. I'm happy. I'm excited. I made the decision to eat the cake and feel good, right? So that's also another kind of aspect or another way to look at emotional eating. And now what you said was amazing, because this really explains what the cycle of emotional eating is. That, there's an event, something happens, I don't know, I fell down, if it's the kids, they fell down, they hit their knee, something happened, they cry, it's an event. And if we're adults, then it can be, a bad email from your boss, or a mean text, or I don't know, mean text, but
yeah
like emotionally, stressed. And then instead of really listening to those feelings, and as you said, really own my feelings, I opt in for food, or some cases also cigarettes, alcohol, drugs, and all those things. I feel like food is just, it's just very available to all of us, right? Because it's always there. So we choose food, and that's where it becomes an issue. So can you say a little bit more about also, because you said a couple of things that I agree with you about relationships, but I want to address the relationship we have with ourselves and how this affects our eating habits or emotional eating habits. So can you say a few words about that?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think the easiest way for me to think about it and to describe it is just to think about, some of my client journeys, and how, through the work that we have done together, how their relationship with food and alcohol, because alcohol is a big thing for, well, I think for a lot of people, to be honest with you.
It is.
And so I can almost use them interchangeably, because it's about satiating, it's about filling that gap, it's about tuning out, it's about like whatever. And I'm exactly the same. My principles are exactly the same with alcohol. Like, enjoy a glass of wine, like enjoy 2 glasses of wine, do whatever you want to do. Like, I'm not the fun police, but don't open a bottle of wine because you're feeling sad and you need to switch off, or because
Yeah.
you're struggling with your emotions. And like, exactly the same as we're talking about food. Like, don't, like feel the emotion and process the emotion. Don't use any an outside thing. Like, do the thing, like drink the wine, eat the biscuits, have the curry, like do what you want to do, but understand your reasons for doing it. And what I noticed with my clients is that as we were working together, and as I was supporting them to understand where their lack of confidence comes from, understand how, and we inevitably talk about parents, because I'm a that's the work I do, right? I'm a therapist, I'm a coach, and that whole cycle is absolutely fascinating to me. And then once we start to understand that, and we start to kind of like talk it through and work out what was going on for their parents, because a lot of the time, like we can, a lot of the time we can have a view of our parents, and from our perspective as a child, right? And it's only once we become older and then we start talking about it and we start rationalizing. I've got a couple of clients really that I really firmly have in mind when I talk about this, and we start talking about what was going on for their mum at the time, right? And we start thinking about what was going on with their mum's relationship, and what was going on with their mum's mental health, and how mum was having to, and what was going on with mum and dad dynamic, and whether dad was in the home or out of the home, and what was going on there. And then we think about how then actually when we step out of ourselves as a child and we look at that objectively and we think, now don't get me wrong, like some parents get it wrong, right? I'm a former social worker. I'm perfectly well aware that some parents get it wrong, but a lot of parents are really just doing their best. And so when you help the adult child then to appreciate that the parent was actually dealing with their own mental health problems, was dealing with their own childhood issues that they had from when they were a child, and we start to kind of like not intellectualize it, but we start to look at it differently, and then we can start to look at the decisions that were made and how you processed certain events and certain information, and actually moving then on to look what you have achieved and look at all of the wonderful things you have done. And you're so busy concentrating on all the things that you haven't done, but actually there are so many things that are so fantastic and wonderful. And once we go, I get all tingly when I talk about it, because it makes me, I go on such an emotional journey when we do it. But actually once we fill that void, I don't tell people what they can and can't eat. I don't tell people what they can and can't drink. I don't tell them how to live their life. I do sometimes tell them to like walk more and meditate, and the stuff that is good for our soul as well as our well-being. But actually then the food habits and the alcohol habits, they stop, or they don't stop, but the crutch, the need, the dependence, it changes, because actually they just think, oh, actually I don't actually need to do that thing, and they start eating better, and they start making healthier choices, and they're exercising. So by exercising and sleeping better, they're more energized, so they're not going for the sugar rush, and it all just, I'm just facilitating their journey, but it all starts when here's what it is, Remi, when you start realizing your importance and that you matter, you just naturally start to take care of yourself.
Amen.
That's it, isn't it?
Yes, 100%. Amen. Really. And I think you've touched a couple of points that are very similar to also my method. And of course, this is why we're doing this together, because we, as you said, we come from the same, I guess, the same coin or the same situation, but then from different sides. And what you said about also, also about that to look where you're good, or to look on your progress, or to look on the things you do well and you do good. This is something I love, and it's also something, by the way, that I tell my clients. So I always encourage my clients to have like a victory notebook, or like a victory maybe WhatsApp group with themselves, or I don't know, notes in their phone, just to have every day something, at least one thing, that they did, that they feel proud of themselves. Because what happens is it creates momentum, and not only that it creates momentum, it's kind of like, the self-confidence muscle, right? It grows, right? Because then you start yourself, and then, oh, I've done that, I'm good.
Yeah,
So it's
absolutely.
yourself, those I would say, kind of, you just give yourself the celebration of, it's kind of like a celebration notebook, right? Because it's, you just give yourself this and you build the momentum. And I also want to say, also in what you said towards the end was, I think, the best, and just hit you know, hit really home, because it is really that, right? When you start to appreciate yourself and you understand your self-worth and your self-value, just as a human being, right? Just as being a woman in this world, that you understand, you know, that you're good enough, that you're not alone, and that what you do is good, then you would want to also invest in yourself and treat yourself properly. And you know, as a result of that, of course, doing exercises or just having a daily movement routine and eating healthy and all those things. So I just have one more question to you. Can you maybe give us, to someone that listens, right, and maybe doesn't, you know, fully know how to take it from here, because it's a big topic, and you know, and we have certain timeline right now, but we can
I could talk about this. We could talk about this forever, but yeah, absolutely.
hours. Yeah, and if anyone has a question, so if you're watching this, just comment below. And so yeah, so maybe you can give us like a couple of steps, 1, 2, 3, maybe steps, that, you know, we can start with, more building our confidence, and you know, and bettering our relationship with ourselves. Maybe one steps.
Oh gosh, how am I going to narrow that down? Right. Well, first of all, just going on what you say. So I tell my clients to do something very similar. So I'll just tell mine's a little bit different, but it's the same. So I call mine a personal statement, and it's making a list of all of your achievements.
Yes.
Now I make that really clear that I do not want that. I do not want a CV, right? I don't ask to see it. It's not for me to see, but I don't want you to create a CV. I want you to create a list of everything that you feel proud of and that you have achieved. So it might be your exam results, right? It might be your masters. But I don't, or it might be a job, but I want it to be things about, you know, I'm a really good listener. I have beautiful children who are, you know, who know that they are loved. I make really good cakes.
Yeah.
I ran 10K during the pandemic. Like, you know, like absolutely, like list it all down, and then I want that to be a so first of all, then when you finished it, put it somewhere where you can see it regularly, not somewhere that's going to embarrass you. So maybe not like on the kitchen wall where guests will see it, but maybe on your bedroom wall where you
Yeah.
can refer to it regularly, and then add to it, and then keep it as a living document, but on your bedroom wall, if you see. So I echo that. There's so much value in
Yeah.
actually seeing your achievements in black and white in front of you. It's invaluable. So I really love that. Be really careful about who you hang around with, because we are the average of the people that we hang around with, but I can guarantee you that you have got energy vampires in your immediate circle, who will question your goals, question your values, and will want to keep you small, not out of malice, not necessarily out of malice, but just because your personal growth and development challenges their bubble, right?
Yeah.
So find your tribe, find your people, find the people who instinctively support you, encourage you, champion you, who when you say I'm going to give up alcohol, I'm going to lose a stone, I'm going to run a marathon, I'm going to do a degree, go, yes, I am behind you, let me know whatever I can do to help you, because those are the people that will make you feel really good about yourself. And we definitely want those people, whether that's in real life or online. And then I think the other thing is, if we're thinking about self-confidence in general, but it ties in, look after yourself. Like, look after yourself, be kind to yourself, and value yourself. And that doesn't mean having to get up every morning at 5 o'clock and do a 5K run. It doesn't mean never allowing yourself to have a packet of crisps or a glass of wine, but it means do things for yourself that, oh God, Remi, we are so good as women as putting ourselves at the bottom of the pile all the time, and especially as mothers, and especially as working mothers, we come last, right? So often. And I just encourage everyone watching or listening to this to just move yourself up that pile and do the exercise, go out for the walk, like go to bed early, go and sit and have half an hour and read your book. Like, when you look at yourself and you see wobbles and dimples, don't call yourself a fat bitch, but say, yeah, okay, that you know, I've been maybe getting a bit comfortable, or like I say, like, you know, I look at mine and I'm just like, well, that's my baby belly, right? I mean, I'd love it to be flat, don't get me wrong, but that little pouch there has had 2 babies growing in it. So let's not give myself a hard time that I haven't got a 6-pack, right? Let's just be honest about what's going on. And yes, I strive to be fitter and lose a little bit of weight, but I don't hate on myself for not being a size 12. Do you know what I mean?
I love it.
Yeah, I could go on, there's loads, but I'll limit it to that.
I think the top 3 amazing tips. And to the last one you said, I just want to add that I refer to it also with my clients as well. I refer to it, be your own best friend. So if to your example, if you look in the mirror and you see the pouch belly, or if you see your, you know, your butt, I think we can say butt, if you can see your butt like with dimples and stuff, like if you know, if you hear yourself say words to yourself that you would never say to your best friend, don't tell them to yourself, right? Like if you use words that you would tell to, you know, you would say to the person you love most, your best friend, you wouldn't tell her, oh, you're such ugly and fat, right? So be your best friend, basically. So I love that. I love your tips.
And also just to finish on that, you know, I don't know how many, forgive me, because obviously I'm a mum and a lot of my clients are mums, so I'm always in the mum mode, right? But also, like, our children are watching, and my daughters are always watching me, so I don't want them to grow up, you know, when we've got a joke in my house because my bottom is particularly wobbly. We just make a joke of it now. Like, there's no point in me being self-conscious about it. I just shake it and it wobbles and it's hilarious and everybody laughs. And I just think I would much rather that than them seeing me like, they see me exercise, they see me eat well, but they don't see me hating my body. There's a big difference.
Amazing. Wow, that's amazing. They're so lucky to have you, Pascal. And I'm so lucky to, you know, to have done this. We have to go now because I have to jump on another call right now.
That's fine.
And I'm going to post it and we're going to talk later, you and I. But thank you so much for this. And if anyone just comment below, tell us what you think, and if you want to see us more together. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Remi. All right, I'll see you soon.
Yes, I'll see you soon. Bye. Oh, I have a flight. Bye.
Okay, bye.